Been a couple days since the Vikings season did come to an end. We're over it now. We're going to take tonight to look at a fun season that was, and also look to the future and an exciting offseason ahead. Let's get into it.
And of course, another rookie giveaway. We got a Jalen Nailor Obsidian autograph rookie card out of 99. So get the hashtag Skols in the comments, like the video, and subscribe. Let's get in the show.
What's going on, everybody? Thank you so much for joining us here on this beautiful Thursday evening. As we mentioned in the pre-part there, obviously, as we all know, Viking season came to an end on Monday night, and it really is all settling in now. I mean, we had the player exit press conferences on YouTube yesterday, and then obviously today, Kevin O'Connell, Kwesi Adofo-Mensah spoke, which we'll get into a little bit about what they said here, but again, really unfortunate, a really, really fun season. Honestly, kind of a season that with preseason expectations did kind of come out of the blue for this football team. But yeah, I mean, it was 18 weeks of getting to watch our team win. Just a fun ride and some unexpected heroes stepping up big when we needed them to. But at the end of the day, this team just wasn't good. I mean, at the end of the day, this team just wasn't good enough all around to get it done when it mattered in the big moments. And that's why we're sitting here today, kind of doing a season review and then kind of looking forward into the future. But I mean, as disappointed as we've talked about on Monday night, and I really do I still take, getting that time away, getting to step back and look at things as a whole. I truly do believe this team has the right leadership and now the right, every possibility is open to them to finally build the team that Kevin O'Connell and Kwesi Adofo-Mensah truly envisioned when they got here. So
right.
I know, disappointing end. There's still been a lot of discourse on social media and all that about the future of this organization from a leadership standpoint. Obviously, we know no extensions. They did talk about that a little bit today, which we'll get into later. But I truly do believe that all the right pieces from a leadership perspective are in this building. Player-wise, the big key pieces are here as well. As we all know, the best receiver in football, Christian Darrisaw, will be back. We have defensive pieces signed up. Sure, some coordinator questions, but I don't know, man. The future has never been brighter for this football team. Again, and for some people, I think it's still hard to believe that, just with the way Monday went and with the way that Detroit game went. But I truly, truly, truly do believe that this team is in a good spot, and every avenue is open for them to even get better this offseason. And it'll be fun, man. I mean, look, it's never fun when the games are done being played, but the offseason is always fun because it's just new possibilities. And I looked forward to last offseason because we knew we were having a new quarterback coming in. But honestly, this offseason to me is even more exciting because we have enough draft picks and we have enough money. And I don't know, man, there's going to be a lot of changes to an already good roster this offseason that I think is going to make it even better.
Yeah. And you already got your young quarterback. You don't have to go in and you don't know who that is. Last one was exciting because we felt like we were going to go after a quarterback. And that's exactly what we did, but we do have him now. And I just think that's the biggest point that you mentioned is it's time to actually have the team that Kwesi and KOC envision this time. The reality is this year was never part of their plan. This season wasn't part of their plan at all. It went way better. Exactly. Competitive rebuild. This was the last year of the competitive rebuild, and everything was supposed to start next year. And that's why this offseason is so exciting, because we have everything we need to kind of go out and go grab the guys that we might need here. But before going on, I want to do some shout outs here. We got our guy, the one and only Gary, in the building right away here. What's up, Skol mates? My guy, let's go. Two-tone in the building with the hashtag Skol. Big Raylan, let's go, Big Raylan, my guy there as well. Who else we got in here? Roger's in the building. What's going on, Roger? FT Maddie, man, let's go. My dude, Zoe, in the Zoe podcast, my guy again. Hey, anybody in here who is not subscribed to Zoe, you definitely should go over to his channel, the Zoe and podcast, as you see there, and go subscribe to him as well. Welcome in, my dude. Welcome in. I think we got Skol Mafia in the building. Gary, you like the song I sent you? What song was it, Gary, my brother? What's going on, Skol Mafia, my guy? Let's go. All right. I think we got some people again, everybody. So we have some, before moving on here, actually, as you can see, we're doing something a little bit different here. Below Casey is kind of the list of topics. This is the first off-season show. So the list of topics that we're going to be going through today, the Skol Gauntlet, obviously, if you've been here, you know what that is. The 2024 season in review. That's pretty much what we're going to do there. Quasi KOC extension, 2025 quarterback, free agency / draft. Kind of just looking into the future of this offseason. And then, of course, the giveaway, which is going to, I'm going to bring up that in a second here, but we do have some good and bad news. I'm going to start with the bad news here. Which is this is going to be our last Thursday show for the foreseeable future. The plan was always to do Mondays and Thursdays throughout the season, off season, do Monday shows kind of only. And then the positive news of that is the main reason is so we can focus on other content and push out more videos on our channel. And we're really going to be pushing hard last year. Anyone that saw any of our videos last season, I think you guys can probably contest that we did put a lot of work in those, and we worked really hard on editing and all those stuff. So we're hoping to up that game this year and kind of create some really cool content that no one's really doing for the Vikings over here. That being said, since this is going to be our last Thursday show, we're going to give away a really nice card in this one, and that is a Jalen Nailor rookie auto Obsidian orange out of 99. This is a really cool card. Obviously, I think Jalen Nailor wasn't as, honestly, he kind of like, it was like, he started off hot, was really boring in the middle as a wide receiver 3. We all kind of talked shit, and then he came on strong at the end. So feeling kind of good about him now. But everybody in here for the Jalen Nailor rookie auto card out of 99, get the hashtag Skols in the comments, like the video, and subscribe if you haven't already. And my guy, Skol Mafia,
so much, Skol Mafia. Appreciate
for $9.99. Who's ready for JJ? Man, I think everybody is now. I don't know if there's a soul out there at this point that is not ready for some Jonathan James McCarthy, the future of this franchise, which obviously we'll get into. I watched both Quasi and KOC's press conference today.
I just got done watching those as well.
Yep. So we can kind of get into that, especially once we get into probably that KOC Quasi extension part of this whole show. But I don't know if you have any other thoughts before we jump right into the Skol Gauntlet here.
I just saw Big Raylan say, I hope we better or not that, where was it? Draft time, we better push some content. And that's going to be a big focus. We are going to be spending, a lot of times we'd spend like Tuesday, Wednesdays preparing for this show. We're going to be digging into a lot of the draft prospects at positions that we feel are positions of need. And those videos are a lot of time and effort. So that's a big reason why we're kind of taking a break from the Thursday streams. So we can focus on draft content, get all those pushed out. And we're
free agency
we're going to be having plenty. Probably more draft content not more draft content than you want, but probably enough draft content to keep you happy.
Yeah. And we're going to be we're going to be making some videos, I think, that are going to be some of the best as far as like individual players go. I feel like we succeeded with that a little bit last year. We probably had one of the most popular JJ McCarthy videos out there. Definitely the most popular Ivan Pace Jr. video out there. And we're hoping to do that again with some more players that we all like. So, we got some big plans here, and it takes a lot of time and effort and is, a change of pace for us, but we're excited to dive in. And Big Raylan, I forget when you started popping into our show, because I don't know if you've been around. I don't know if you were around when we were doing draft stuff, because the draft thing's heavy. Like we are heavy with the draft stuff. That's it's part of one of the funnest parts of the entire year, honestly. And this one's going to be a good one. No quarterback this year, and we're going to get into some draft stuff obviously a little bit later. But I don't know. I'm really excited to watch the running backs specifically.
Running backs and D-line for me are the two that I'm really
running back and D-line. But I love just watching running backs.
It's a deep D-line and a deep running back class. This is a great year for the Vikings to have a really late first round pick.
Yep. And I'm excited for some interior offensive line. Last year, we saw some diamond in the roughs early last year. So, hey, we might have a
for me with interior offensive line and quarterback specifically, I'm looking more free agency there because I want guys that are already proven at those two spots. Like that's
Which we'll get into.
What I'm looking for when it comes to
we'll get into that, but let's jump into the Skol Gauntlet. Again, before doing that, everybody in here, hashtag Skol in the comments for the Jalen Nailor rookie auto. Let's jump right into some Skol Gauntlet here. So
And obviously, a lot of the stuff in the Skol Gauntlet we'll be talking about more in depth as we go through the show here. But
this is a good
obviously,
start.
got to get it done. Got to do it. Got to get the Skol Gauntlet in. So,
and
let's roll. Whenever you're ready, roll the clock.
All right, let's do it. Obviously, anyone that's been in here, we each get 30 seconds to give our point of view on each one of these questions here, starting with season MVP. And Casey, let me know when you're ready to go.
Let's roll.
All right, 3, 2, 1.
I know we have a lot of talk about JJ McCarthy, a lot of talk about the last couple games of the season, but I still am going to give my team my season MVP to Sam Darnold. I mean, a guy that came in here, honestly, even when we signed him for 1 year's $10 million, no one wanted him here in the first place. I get some guys at work who are like, if Sam Darnold's my quarterback, I don't know if I can watch the football. I don't know if I can watch his team this year. And all he did was come on and have one of the best seasons of his career. I know it didn't end well, but just the fact that he was able to come here, put his past behind him and just play some damn good football all year long. Really impressed with Sam Darnold. He's my season MVP, no doubt.
Yeah. I mean, almost all year long. He had a couple games at the end there that I wouldn't say was his best football, but at the same time, you still have to give him the season MVP. This was a team that everyone projected 6.5 wins. I do believe it's a lot more than Sam Darnold, but he definitely stepped up, especially in a lot of those games where I mean, up until those last games, he stepped up the most towards the end of the games when we really needed him to, and that's the big reason why we even won as many games as we did.
Absolutely. Biggest loser for me, it's 4 people. It's Blake Brandel, it's Garrett Bradbury, and it's Dalton Reiser / Ed Ingram. Like, obviously, the pass blocking improved when Dalton Reiser went in there, but let's be honest, he played well enough, but he didn't have a great season. Brandel started off hot and really cooled off, and Bradbury is just more of what we've seen with Bradbury, and Ingram just ain't it. And just the end of the season, those last 2 games came down to teams exploiting our weak interior offensive line. So for me, that's the biggest loser this season and a big reason why we're sitting here not talking about football right now.
Yeah, and I mean, to be honest, like, you pick the whole group. I'm gonna pick one individual out, and that's got to be Ed Ingram. I mean, he up in pretty much the entire season, we had like the bench cut thing or whatever, and he was on our bench every single time, and eventually it actually happened. So for him to start the season as a starter and eventually actually getting benched because of his play, he's got to be the Vikings' bigger loser, in my opinion.
Sam Darnold report, obviously, as we already talked about, the season didn't end well. He played so well for most of the season, a couple duds in there, but for the most part, Sam Darnold was an absolute surprise. Absolute surprise this season. Tom Pelissero today still says his money or betting money would be on Darnold being back in Minnesota, which I don't necessarily know about. I think he's still going to get paid. I think he's going to get paid by a team that just needs a stable quarterback who might not get one in the draft. I don't think he's going to be here next year, but Sam Darnold's gained a fan in me for the rest of his career.
Dang, I didn't know that he was still favored to be here. No, I don't see it at all.
His money would
be
Tom
Pelissero. I'm really surprised you said that, though. I don't see it at all at this point. It just costs too much money. It would have to be for some sort of cheaper deal or whatever, but he'd be an idiot to not go and get his money if he could. So I don't think he's going to be here. And, you know, the main reason, and I always thought that had nothing to do with his play. Overall, I think he's a good quarterback, but now especially seeing him kind of fall out in the biggest games of his career.
2024 season, I guess, just kind of in short, kind of like you talked about with Darnold, just unexpected. I mean, 4 to 6.5 wins with the projections. Nobody, I mean, in the toughest division in football, beat the Packers 2 times, first time since we've done that since 2017. I don't know. Like I said, it's sad that it ended because it was such a fun, unexpected ride. And you do, like, look, we all know the future is the future. We still feel happy about it. But these 14-win seasons, you really got it. You can't take them for granted because they don't happen all the time.
Yeah. I mean, overall, you got it. Like, if I was going to put a grade on this season, it gets a B+. If we would have won one game in the playoff, if we would have won that Rams game, it would have been probably an A+ because we way beat expectations. But to lose to the Lions and the Rams twice in the way we did it, I got to put it down. But overall, like, if you're going to tell me what you expected this season to be, not one person expected 14 wins or even a playoff win, really. So I'd give it a B+ there.
Yeah. KOC extension. I don't even need 30 seconds, but I'll take them all up. I mean, can I just say yes for the next 20 seconds? I mean, absolutely, Kevin O'Connell extension. The people, and I said the people after the game that were calling for his job, or even calling him to not call plays, calling for him to not call plays anymore, it was an emotional overreaction to a game that just didn't end well. Look, is there things he can fix in his offense? Sure. Should we see some more short passing? Sure. But you watch the tape, people are open, and Darnold just didn't hit him. Darnold wasn't his competent self that last game. I mean, look, does he need to change? Yes, but Kevin O'Connell extension for sure. Sorry, I took up too much time.
Oh, that's funny. I only need 1 second, but I'll take 35. I only need 1 second. No, what Casey said, obviously, there's not even a question in my mind. He's 34. What is 34 and 17? Taking a quarterback that was considered a bust and giving you a 14-win season. On top of that, the plan hasn't started yet. This is competitive rebuild. The plan starts next year. It always has been. I think that should be in consideration.
2025 quarterback. I mean, look, if they do decide to bring back Sam Darnold, I will understand it. But in the building, they know the health of JJ McCarthy. So if they truly feel like he's going to be ready to go next year, and if you can't get Darnold back for like $10 million again, then I mean, look, at this point, you've been saying it all season long, we have so many holes to fill. We have money now. You got to go with JJ McCarthy, mainly because I think he can be as good as Darnold for sure. And then you'll have all the extra money to spend on the rest of the team.
Yeah, I think he definitely. I don't know if you're going to see like the same regular season production as Sam Darnold in year one for JJ McCarthy. You never know. It's Kevin O'Connell. I don't know. A lot of quarterbacks play really well in the Kevin O'Connell system. I don't know there, but when it comes to these big games, like at this point, there's no reason why you would not favor JJ McCarthy there based on his past. But another thing I do want to talk about is just Daniel Jones. And having Daniel Jones, like I like the idea of potentially bringing Daniel Jones back in here at a very cheap deal and having him as kind of the backup there. And you still have that veteran presence with a guy who's has won before and definitely in playoffs.
And Big Raylan, I don't even think it's going to cost $10 million. I think it's going to be half that, if even. Like, because I think he's still going to be getting paid by the Giants. So I honestly think he could come. I honestly think he could get him back for $5 million for 1 year, if not even less.
Because that's what Russell Wilson did, right? Russell Wilson's work, he got the vet minimum. He got $3 million, and he's obviously worth that, but he was already getting paid already.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I think he just was like, hey, I want to give us the best chance to win here, even though it's a little different situation as far as Daniel Jones. You probably have a chance to start. I'm assuming it won't be straight up JJ McCarthy's the guy. Before you moving forward, though, FT Maddie, AOC will be with us for a long time.
I agree.
Appreciate you, Maddie. Appreciate you, bro.
I agree.
Plan with Jones. I think that was the plan for Jones. So yeah, I do like that. If you go with JJ McCarthy, I think a lot of us, even though regardless of how you feel about Daniel Jones, and most of us weren't really fans, but it was like fans from like a based on what he was paid type of situation more than like him as a backup. Like I like him as a backup more than I like him as a starting quarterback. Yeah. And I think you would feel a lot of the people who are a little bit worried about rolling with JJ McCarthy. I think having Daniel Jones sitting there in the back would be good, even though we have quarterbacks on here. So we'll be getting back into that. Yeah. Again, before moving forward, though, giving away the Jalen Nailor auto out of 99 rookie auto. So put the hashtag Skols in the comments, like the video, and subscribe. This is a big card. So definitely do that. Yeah. So anyways, Skol Gauntlet.
Just kind of digging a little bit deeper, kind of putting everything into perspective here. Again, I think as we talked about it on Monday, we talked about it. I mean, kind of starting off tonight here. Unexpected season, a season where the win projections were not very high. Coming in with, again, I remember immediately after JJ McCarthy, it was announced that, he had the meniscus tear and now he's going to be missing the whole season. Vikings land was very doom and gloom. Like no one ever thought, everyone just thought, it's going to be a lost season. We're going to win 6 games. We're going to have, at least we'll have a high draft pick. And you and I know you and I never, we never felt that way. We always felt like this team could at least get 8, 9, 10. Now, were we expecting? And it's funny, even Quasi said that. Now, he's like, I couldn't stand up here before the season and say I thought we were going to win 14 games. I knew we were going to be competitive. I couldn't tell you 14. That's just I don't want to lie to you about that. And that's not we never thought 14 games was a possibility when the season started. But we were thinking 9-10, if we get 9-10 wins, like that would be a successful season. So like overall, if you're looking at this season, I know the last couple games soured things for some fans, and I completely understand that. But from my perspective, just kind of taking a step back and looking at things as a whole and looking where this team is going to go in the future, like the people that wanted us to be bad this year anyway for a high draft pick, you and I went into this season like, no, I want to see this team be competitive so that we know when we go into this point in time where we have where we have money in cap space to bring in players and to this team, we wanted to know we had the right leadership group and the right players, who are already going to be here. And
Right.
I have not been more confident that is the case as I feel right now. And that's why I know Kwesi and Kevin O'Connell will both get those extensions. And just this season, and again, it's difficult to look to try to be positive looking forward just because of the way that it did end. But it's just, there's so much hope for the future, but this season was just so much fun. And like, it's fun having a team win 14 games. And I feel like it's not going to happen every year. Like I get that, but a 13 win and a 14 win season in 3 seasons under Kevin O'Connell, and last season with all the quarterback injuries, who knows what that would have been like had the quarterback stayed healthy. But like, you just know that this is possible every year with different, and that's the thing. It's been with 2 totally different iterations of this team, right? Like this year it was with good offense and not even a complete defense personnel wise, but a coach who knew what to do with this defense that made it good enough to win games. And in 2022, we did it with an offense with a quarterback who I didn't think would played as well as Sam Darnold did this year, and a defense that was absolutely atrocious. So like the fact that Kevin O'Connell has done this 2 times with 2 totally different coaching staffs and rosters, to me shows that we have the right guy for the job that can put people in the best situations to be their best selves. $9.99 from Big Raylan, get the membership started. That is also part of the plan. We're kind of coming up with how we want to do that. Which will probably be more of our kind of discussions over the next.
Our goal with that is we need to if we do a plan. So that's the thing. That's what we're trying to do. Is like we don't want to, I don't know, like shortchange or whatever. So like when we release that, we want to make sure we're giving y'all like the most value we can. Yeah. We do have a good plan for it though, and I do think actually it will be pretty sweet. And yeah, we'll see when it happens. We kind of have like a goal we want to reach before we go membership. But we'll keep you guys in the loop.
Yeah.
On all
Thank you for the
that.
$9.99, Big Raylan. We appreciate you. We appreciate you being back in here.
You.
Yeah, I guess
what up, Adam, by the way? Let me do a couple shout outs real quick. We got Bell to the ass. This team will never win a Super Bowl with Kwesi and KOC. Great during the regular season, but shrinking big games. Again, I just disagree. I don't think they don't have their team. We weren't even supposed to be in playoffs this year. Just the fact that they did what they did in regular season was already super impressive to me. Obviously, yeah, I mean, coming into next year, this is the competitive rebuild. We're still on the competitive rebuild. Next year is when, we make it to playoffs and we're losing over again, when I feel like that's warranted to be said. Because there's a lot of head coaches here nobody's even saying this to, and they've never even made playoffs before. So,
yeah. But I guess
what up, Justin, by the way, and what up, Bleeding Purple as well.
But as much, hey, we're in the GG hat right now. Hey, there we go. Love to hear it. Love to hear it. But I guess like again, I just feel super bright about the future of this franchise. But 2024 is just such a fun season, and it sucks. It sucks to have to move on, but at some point you really do have to. And I just think there was so many, and I think Kwesi and Kevin O'Connell mentioned it multiple times in their press conference. And this season, if nothing else, just laid a great foundation for the future of this team. And that is the one thing that I do take away from this season is just, you just feel so good about the future. And just, but I do just want to sit back and appreciate some of the stars we had on this team this year. Just and I'm gushing over him again, but Sam Darnold, I know it didn't end well, but just the season for just watching a guy like that, someone who'd been beaten down in his career, someone who nobody believed in, come in and just put up a season like he did. I'm a guy who loves stories. I love a good comeback story. I love just kind of someone kind of just fighting off this negative, negative past, and where people,
especially if they're a good person,
yeah. And he seems like a genuinely good dude, right? And someone who's stepping up. And that's part of the reason why I hated the way that it ended. I hated the fact that he just couldn't, get it done in those moments, because I think it's going to negative. I mean, obviously it's in a way it's going to negatively affect his future. Like I still think he's going to get a good contract somewhere, but it was just such a fun year, and We don't get these all the time, as we know, being Vikings fans. So you do have to appreciate it, and it sucks that it's
going to
over.
negative affect this too.
But we do got to move on. But I'm always gonna hold this season near and dear because this was one of those seasons where I truly felt like this team could go all the way, and at the end of the day, we just weren't able to get it done, and it's unfortunate. But again, you respect it, you love the season, but eventually, it's at this point, and that's exactly what we're doing today. It's time to move on.
Sorry, Beltsass. I have to bring this up again because this is the thing. This is my thought, and we're supposed to go into KOC and Quasi in a little bit here. But the biggest thing for me is it's not mediocrity. They don't have their team yet. Like, this is the offseason when they were even supposed to have their team. So that's why I don't believe it. I think what Quasi and KOC is doing, if you're paying attention, is actually way different than what any other coach has ever done. Quasi said it himself today. Like, everybody wants something right now. It's the delayed gratification. Yeah. It's the delayed. Every Viking fan, keep Sam Darnold because he's playing good right now. Who cares about the future and what the plan was the whole time? Who cares? Even though that has been the recipe success, a recipe the Vikings have never done, including getting J.J. McCarthy as a top 10 quarterback. That was the first time ever. Quasi did that. He drafted a quarterback in the top 10. Is that a mediocrity move? I don't think so. They're doing things different. This isn't even the same strategy. They're going at this from a size of like, hey, we're trying to win a Super Bowl in 5 years, not next year or in 2 years or whatever.
Right.
And that's
what's
special about them. Hey,
and
what
another
else?
thing,
rap in the building, dude.
And another good thing that he said in that same breath is he mentioned that, like, I think he was kind of talking about Dallas Turner with that immediate gratification, where he said, like, all the fans, like he's like what you got to realize is sometimes with these draft picks, like, you're like, what you have right now, and you're drafting for what he said. You draft for like, you want to draft a want before it becomes a need. And I think that's where he's kind of at with Dallas Turner. Like, he wanted Dallas Turner because he knows what a raw 21-year-old quarterback could, a raw 21-year-old pass rusher could be in the next 3 seasons. And he knows, I have Grenard, we have Van Ginkel for 2 years. So he's basically saying, like, I took this guy with this immense first round talent who, if he goes to another team, he's probably starting. He probably would have had a better season than he did this year, but he didn't need to start. So he can sit there and he can learn. And he took someone that he wanted before you have to draft for need 2 or 3 years down the road. So I did like the way that he put that, where everybody wants that. Like, they want, and I get it, first round picks a lot of times, like, you draft them in hopes they can start for you year 1 and make an impact. But I really do like what he said. Like, you want to make sure you get a want before you need that want down the road. And that is what he's doing with a lot of these draft picks. He's drafting for potential needs in the next 2 to 3 years. Well, and that's how you build depth. If these guys aren't good enough to be starters, then you either draft one the next year or you sign one in free agency, and you have these guys that you've been developing for 2 or 3 years who are going to be your backups. Like, people say he doesn't get enough depth through his draft picks, and then he realized that. Like, he's already admitted that his first year wasn't very good. He said he tried to make too many moves that just didn't work out, right? So he is working towards, and he like you said, he has a new plan, like a new way of thinking that other teams just aren't doing right now, right? Where he's taking players because he signed some in free agency that are starting studs, and he knows down the road, like, but I have Dallas Turner in my back pocket. So if we need him when we need him in 2 years, he's going to be developed by then, and he's going to come in, he's going to have a monster season. So you're right. And he's doing things differently, and it's not that immediate gratification from these draft picks.
And I'll keep going in the 2024 season in a second here, though. But the big thing is like, if you are them and you're getting in their mind, which obviously, I'm not in, but I just paying attention, listening to everything they've said. Like, the whole plan is to, like, probably year 3 of J.J. McCarthy. So year 2, so not next year, but the year after and the year after that, before you have to give him his 5th-year option. Those are the 2 golden years. So you want your team to be as best as possible in year 2 or year 3 and 4 of J.J. McCarthy's as a quarterback. Like, that is the golden year. Dallas Turner, he's going to be in a great spot by then. Like, you want everything, you want those to be the golden year. So that's another thing with delayed gratification or whatever. Like, the plan isn't for this year. The plan is to have the best team in 3 years or 4 years.
Or for the next 3 years even, who knows?
Yeah, and who knows after that. But going back to the 2024 season, I guess I won't go too deep into it, but again, overall, a big success here. Sam Darnold as well obviously ended the way it did for Sam Darnold and this Vikings team in general, but totally beat my expectations that were higher than most people. We did have us winning 10 games at one point during last offseason. And that, again, like Casey mentioned before, was all about because we were confident in the talent. We're like, how do you have Jordan Addison, TJ Hawkinson, Christian Darrisaw, Aaron Jones, Jordan, or who am I missing? Jordan Addison, Justin Jefferson, the main guy.
He's so good we forget him sometimes. It's kind of crazy.
Justin Jefferson, and then Brian Flores on the other side of the ball, and think we have 6.5 wins. And I'm pretty sure I'd have to go check. I'm pretty sure I had the over. I just went and put the over on probably that 6.5 wins, which would win like double the money or whatever. But anyways, and we just did that. Like in mine and your opinion, what up, Nick? Mine and your opinions, the whole plan for us, and this is the bad part for me, kind of for this season, is I just never had my whole heart into this season. Like that loss to the Rams, it didn't crush me because my heart wasn't in it all the way. I don't know why. I mean, I kind of do know why. One, JJ McCarthy's injury was a big one. That was a gut punch to me. And I pretty much already was like, well, this season's not going to be as exciting. And then I would say after, and you know, maybe after the first few games, I felt like after the Packers game, even though we had that like second half collapse or whatever, I counted it in my own head as garbage time or whatever. After that, like I was like, dang, we might be the best team in the NFL. After we lost to the Lions and the Rams and what we did in Jacksonville, and then pretty much every game after that was coming close to the end, and we just didn't have all four quarter football, my opinion of this team being the best in the NFL kind of went away. And that's the reason why, like, I don't know, my heart wasn't in it. My heart was always kind of more in it for next year than it was this year, even though I was hoping, and, you know, if we would have whooped the Rams' ass, maybe things would have changed or whatever. Obviously, the Lions game didn't help, but everything always felt like it was about next season. And going into the season, especially when JJ McCarthy got hurt, me and you both have talked about it many times, that we just were hoping that we saw the surrounding cast of JJ McCarthy's future was good. And that passed with absolute flying colors, obviously. And then, of course, with it helped on top of that, finding out exactly where the holes that we need to fill, which also were extremely apparent as well. So now we just got to go do that. But that's why the 2024 season overall beat my expectations. It beat my expectations. It gave me exactly what I was hoping for, and which was really feeling confident about the next 4 years of JJ McCarthy's rookie contract. And that's exactly what it did. I wish it did end better. But, you know, it is what it is. I think my heart will be a lot more into the next 4 years and hoping we really win during that stretch than even if today was like, I was just following like expectation. It was like, oh, we are good. And it was like, oh, are we really that good? No, I don't think so. Maybe make the playoffs. And it's like, oh, wait, yeah, we are. We'll come back, bounce back from Sam Darnold. And, oh, Darnold's winning games at the end. Maybe we could beat any team. Like, it was just kind of weird, but it was never like, oh, we're the best team in the NFL. And I'm going to go take on Kansas City, Buffalo, Philly, the Ravens, and we're going to beat each one of those teams every single time. It didn't feel that way, and which was the biggest reason why I wanted to roll a JJ McCarthy next year. Is I just didn't think we had paying Sam Darnold all that money, even when he was playing well, paying him all that money while having all these holes on our team didn't make us the best team in the NFL. And I do think that's what's special about Kwesi, and we could even jump into that coming up next year. Jumping into Kwesi and KOC is that's what they're trying to do, is build the best team. They're not trying to do this mediocrity stuff that people want to say. They're mediocre. Vikings fans are always mediocre. Kwesi and KOC, the plan of going with JJ McCarthy and gambling on him while building the best team around him is not a plan to be mediocre. It's a plan to create, hopefully, what is the most talented, most well-rounded team in the NFL. And yeah, a lot does come on with JJ McCarthy, but you drafted him top 10. So I do. So you're like, you should expect him to be good. And if he's not, then he's not. And then you failed. And you have to come up with another plan. But of course, you don't draft a guy at top 10 and just automatically be like, assume he's going to be a bust. I mean, I don't think you shouldn't think like that. People do, whatever. You also shouldn't be like, he's going to be great and amazing. And see, I get that side as well.
Yeah.
But that's why, like, over everything, Quasi and KOC getting extension, like, it's a no-brainer, and that's mostly because of I think they have a genius, amazing plan in place, and it hasn't even started yet. And without it even starting, they have 34 wins and 16 losses. And that's why it's a no-brainer. Like, there's not even a single chance that they don't get. Why would they fire them right before their plan comes to fruition? Like, literally right before. That would be stupid. And I know the Wolves, if as businessmen, are well aware you don't cut your losses before, like, you're not even cutting losses. You don't cut people or cut a business project right before it's actually about to take off.
Yeah.
And,
I mean,
and
I would say, like, yeah, I mean, there's, again, little things he could do. Sure. I saw you mention something about the run game earlier. I guess he could put, I mean, the run game could be more effective. He talked about that today in his press conference. He could probably implement a few more short passes. But if you watch, receivers are getting open, and Darnold wasn't pulling the trigger in that last game. So I don't know. I mean, look, I get it. Is there things he could do better play calling wise? Sure. But we were still a top 12 offense this year overall. We put up a lot of points. The offense when it was clicking could be one of the best in the league. Sure, it needs to be a little better in certain points, but I don't know, man. I think Kevin O'Connell is an excellent play caller. I really, really do. Could he make some adjustments? Absolutely, but
you could still grow there. And then same with Quasi with drafting. But guess, like, saying this, how can you justify a lack? Because we can't afford more interior offensive linemen. We had to go after Eric. We can't afford the pieces for that because we were in cap hell when we hired Quasi and KOC, and now we are officially not in cap hell. The opposite, actually, we have the 6th highest money going into it. Next year, we're even going to have more money, and that has to be part of this. Like, you can't just fix things because you just want to fix them when you have no money to do so.
Right. Which actually kind of leads me into a point that I was really excited to make today, because I did a lot of thinking about it over the last couple of days. Again, when you just kind of take a step back, look at the season as a whole, and just kind of see where things go. First off, I am team extend Quasi Kevin O'Connell. I do have a little theory. Everyone, why, if they love O'Connell so much, why wasn't O'Connell extended before this season? I personally think that they 100% trusted that they 100% trusted Kevin O'Connell. I think the jury was still out with them on Quasi. And I honestly don't think that they built that collaborative culture here. I personally do not think that they wanted to sign Kevin O'Connell while not extending Quasi, because to me, that's just kind of a bad look. And it just shows that there's a little bit of dysfunction if you're not willing to give both extensions at the same time. So I personally think that the plan was just, they loved KOC, but they were just going to wait and kind of see where things go. They had 3 years to fix the offensive line. With what money though? Like,
yeah, what money and what else did they needed to get more edge rushers. They couldn't afford Daniil Hunter anymore. They went and did that. They needed a lot of things. It wasn't just the interior offense. Like, guess what? We can do that now. Like, now there's no excuses. But it's not that easy just to go fix your offensive line if you don't have the money to do it.
Well, and
I want to go to Belt to ask, like, how can you be serious, dude? Like,
and like,
you think,
I think
it just comes out of thin air.
I personally think that they seriously thought that Brandel could be a competent left guard. And I think they were expecting, and I think they were expecting more growth from Ed Ingram, and they just didn't get it. And that's, so that they had a plan. They invested draft picks and some money to their own guys into those spots in hopes, hey, maybe we can patch this up for cheap. And it just didn't work. And now they're gonna have to take a new approach to it. And that's just the way it is. So we'll see what they do this offseason, because I truly do believe that they're going to address the trenches in many different ways here. But and I know there is a lot of talk on Twitter about, because everyone brings up the culture, right? Which is and I do think that people downplay culture. Like, I understand a lot of people don't like the new age NFL where everybody has to be all buddy and you gotta. I think you do need to take. I think you do need to take a little different approach to wasted draft picks on Dallas. See, now you're just wasted draft picks on Dallas Turner. Nah. I mean,
it's way too. It's too early to even say that or whatever. But keep going.
I disagree. I would disagree 1,000,000% with wasting draft picks on.
You're doing good though, Belt to ass. Hey, we appreciate you in here, brother. We appreciate you.
Like Quasi said, he drafted a want before it became a need down the road. But here's the thing, and here's the really exciting thing about going into this into the next year here, next couple years here at the money. Like everyone talked about, like again, I saw a lot of people saying culture is great, but vibes and good culture aren't going to win you football games. That is true. But vibes and good culture, especially in today's world, in today's NFL, is how you're going to get people to come to your organization, especially in the last couple of years when you didn't have the money. Like you have to have a reason for people to come here. And and you've proven you can win. I mean, in two of Kevin O'Connell's 3 seasons, they've won at least 13 games. So that's part one. The 2 years in a row, they were voted the number one organization from facilities to ownership to how they treat their players. Number one, year one when they did that, and then number 2 in the second year. So that's this. And then you have a place where now it's getting out there what type of a leader Kevin O'Connell is. And the fact that the ownership and Kwesi just let him be who he is. Again, some people question if he's too soft. I don't think so. I just think he has a completely different way of doing this. So now you have a reputation out there of being a good organization with a good culture, right? And that's how you have to build yourself. Well, now the good culture that you've built becomes a selling point and secondary. Because let's be honest, in the real world, money talks. You could have a shit organization, but if they're willing to pay you more, there are some players that will just be like, screw it. I don't care if we don't win. I want to get paid. So they'll go there now. They'll go there instead. So now you look at Minnesota, to where we do, because of the way that Kwesi handled these last couple off seasons, we do have the money now. So we can get those players. And now you have the culture that you've built here and the facilities and everything that you have as a team. You have that as a selling point. Like, I just liken it to this. If you're applying for a job and you have 2 companies, company A, company B, both companies are offering you the same amount of money. But company A sells you on the vision, the culture, and the future of that business. You're taking company A. And if you're trying to tell me you're taking company B, you're either stupid or a liar. Like, it's just the way that everything is set up is perfect, because you have everything right now, money, and just a place that people want to be, while all proving that even not having the best roster, you can still find ways to win games. So what Kwesi and Kevin O'Connell have done without actually reaching their envisioned plan has been amazing and fantastic. And people downplay it too much because, like Kwesi said, everyone wants now. Where they tried to win now. They had wins now. They made the playoffs in a couple of years. Sure, they didn't go well. 0-2, people say it doesn't look good on Kevin O'Connell. I do not care. Extend them both. What they're building is amazing. And the future is bright, because now we have the money to add to everything else that this team has here. So I don't know, man. I don't know how people can look at this team and be like, oh, to be so depressed that the future is not looking good. It just doesn't make any sense.
No, it comes down to, like, this isn't the vision. I mean, the vision that Kwesi and KOC's had this whole time, it hasn't started yet. And it's really interesting to see that after blowing up expectations and people coming into this season, especially the same people right now that are really pissed off about us losing this Rams game and acting like there's no future, were the same people who thought we were going to win 3 games this year, which is the funny thing. So it's like, what's your expectations? I mean, they blew your expectations out of the water, and now you just have to come, oh, they haven't won, even though they were supposed to win 6.5 games this year and they didn't win their playoff game. Like, now it's an absolute bust. And we can just go get another coach and GM that's going to come in here and take over the genius plan that they've had this whole time right now with JJ McCarthy. Like, best thing we could do. We just saw KOC turn a bust quarterback into an MVP caliber type of player in a season, though he did fail his ending there. And that coach just did that with him, has his rookie quarterback that the GM drafted, and now it's time to be like, okay, screw it. We can roll with JJ McCarthy without Kevin O'Connell. Like, that makes no sense at all. Like, the reality is, whether you like it or not, they're both going to get re-signed or get an extension. And it's like Casey has said before, it's going to be for at least JJ McCarthy's rookie contract. And it's just got to be. You have to go all in on JJ McCarthy and on his rookie contract. So, JD, what up? Skol, baby. Let's go. Patient Wheels, Philly Dallas. They will never settle for mediocrity. I see what you're doing there, my guy. I expect at least one playoff game after 3 years. How long have we waited? Man, we've had stretches with way less than a playoff win. I mean, when was our last playoff win?
2019.
In general.
2019.
2019. That was.
I mean, and I think I don't know if there's still people out there that think Zimmer should have continued to be the head coach of this team, because if you think that, I'm sorry, you are wrong. Mike Zimmer's time here was done. And I mean, I don't know. I just don't know how you can look. I understand you can sit here and be frustrated about the way that things have gone. But again, these guys took over a roster and a team that needed some serious refining, salary cap, refiguring, all that type of stuff. They come here and they did that. And now the sky is the limit for this team because they have so much money to spend on the holes that they have. But again, you got to hope that Kwesi has learned a little bit more about drafting. And I truly believe that he does. I truly believe that he has. And I think,
he has gotten better basically from the, it's not, when you're starting with his first draft, it's kind of only up from there, but whatever. Yeah. He still has. Jordan Addison is an absolute fucking stud. And he might be like the one guy from that draft or whatever. But then obviously we'll find out with Dallas Turner and JJ McCarthy. But if JJ McCarthy hits, then I don't think anybody is talking about him being bad.
No, absolutely not. No. Again. And if he doesn't, then guess what? Then you're probably looking for a new GM and head coach because at that point the contract's going to be up and it just didn't work. Yeah, I don't really know, but it's just like. It would make no sense to not extend them because, again, you don't want your head coach to go into his last year because then if it does start off a little bit rocky, people are just the team's going to give up because at that point, then it's like, oh, he's not going to be here next year. So we might what are we even doing here? So I don't know. Yeah. I just don't know how people can look at this. And I get it. I think some people are still, again, I think emotional overreactions are still running high after that playoff loss. Like I get it. It's frustrating.
In like 3 days.
Again, this was, and I know people don't like the whole, this team wasn't expected to do much. Like they really, at the end of the day, though, they really weren't. Like you can't sit here and look at me in the eye and tell me you thought 14 games, or even some people, even a playoff berth this season.
Yeah, you can't even look me in the eye.
I understand expectation changes as you move through the year. I move through the year. I understand that. Like I think T-Bass said that in one of our comments. Like at the bye week, you're probably looking at this team as like, oh, dang, this team can compete. And then the playoff loss even gets a little bit more frustrating after that. But I get it. It is what it is. I totally understand being frustrated about not winning in the playoffs. But yeah, but my guy, they preached this plan when they got here. They wanted to stay competitive until they were able to rebuild this team in the image that they saw it in. And this next season, finally,
I don't even care about winning playoffs. I want to win a Super Bowl.
It just, I don't know.
I want JJ. That's why you got to roll with JJ McCarthy and roll with Kevin O'Connell and Kwesi's plan because we don't want to. I don't want to win just regular season games. I don't want to just win playoff games. I just want to win a Super Bowl, and their plan is the best way to do it. Unfortunately, it all comes down to JJ McCarthy, but because of Kwesi and Kevin O'Connell, you're able to make one of the best surrounding casts.
Right.
To be determined depending on how they do in this next couple of free agencies and drafts and things like that.
But also the middle year was screwed up because of the quarterback injuries, right? And still trying to turn over some salary cap.
Well, and then the first year.
How do you build a championship culture? Winning regular season games builds a culture of winning. 100%.
Well, and the first year, I just want to say the first year you had Ed Donatel. Okay, you can put that on KOC. They probably should have fired him mid-season. KOC's first year, whatever. You can put that on them. We should have. You also have the guy who's pretty much for our generation is like the most obvious. If you're going to pick one quarterback who's good in the regular seasons but doesn't step up in big games, who's everybody going to pick? And I'm going to give you a hint, 4th and 8 or whatever it was. And that's Kirk Cousins. So like as much as everyone yes, and I've talked about this last time, as much as like I get it, everything should land on the head coach's shoulders and the GM's shoulders. But the reality is like quarterback's the most important position in football. Both that first year and this second and this year, the common denominator came down to the quarterback. This year, Sam Darnold went from MVP caliber level to playing a below average quarterback level. Like, of course, we're not going to be able to continue that success when you have that big of a drop off from your quarterback play. So that I'm like, as much as you want to put it on KOC, it's like, I'm sorry, you got to put it on your quarterback. If we would have lost and Sam Darnold would have kept playing that same way, then it would have been a different story. But that's not the case. And same with Kirk Cousins. Like, you need to have a quarterback that at least cannot fall under like the big pressure of playoffs and stuff. And we have not had that with our last quarterbacks yet. JJ McCarthy, I feel confident he'll be that guy, but
yeah, I mean, So, and we'll get into that in a second here. But either way, like, look, I understand the frustrations with them sometimes. Like, I get it. I really, really do. But I don't know, man. I think this team is in the right direction.
The mob.
I think they're finally able to build a team they want. And yeah, I agree with this. Yeah, if Bradbury is their center and they don't
The
get
reality is, if we
stud
and
running
what
back, I understand it. I really
what
do.
other people are saying too, if we go into this offseason, if we go in the free agent market and we don't end up with one of the top interior linemen and cornerbacks and all that stuff, yeah, then you're allowed to. Then I feel like you can say some shit. Like, this is the year we have the money. We should go get players we need to fill these holes. Like,
Yeah,
100%. There's no really
right.
reason why we shouldn't.
Right, but going back to my point, but that's the thing. Like, you have the money, but now you have the selling point. Like, people want to come here.
Right.
Listen to the way that people talked about this organization after the season. Look at how good the facilities are, how they treat their players, all that type of stuff. And like I said, that is all a bonus on top of the fact that this team has competitive cap space to give competitive contracts. And like, hey, you come here and guess what? 2 of the 3 years we won 13 games. Sure, we didn't win a playoff game, but if you come here, you're one of the pieces we're missing. That in that Rams game, that doesn't happen if you're here. Like, that's what you have to sell, and it all comes down to Kwesi being a good salesman and selling that to these free agents. And look, I don't think it's going to be that difficult. I really don't. I think there's going to be people lining up that want to come play for the Minnesota Vikings because of all these different things, right? So I don't know.
Well, one thing I do want to.
Everything is set up for Kwesi to have. Last free agency was great. This is set up for him to have an even better one.
Yeah. One thing I do want to say is Peyton Manning said if there was one coach he wanted to play for, it would be Kevin O'Connell. So if Peyton Manning's saying that, how many other players out here that are free agents are going to be like, they're not crossing Minnesota off the list because it's fucking cold there. Not anymore. Before it would be. Like, if you have a shitty coach and he's an asshole and you're not winning games, then nobody wants Minnesota because it's also fucking cold. And if it's the opposite, if you are winning and you have a great culture there, now Minnesota's probably on top of a lot of people's boards and everything, like you talked about, like the organization and everything, the facilities and everything is up as well. So, but let's keep on moving forward because we've sat on this one and we had to get this one out. Obviously, this is going to continue to come out. It doesn't even matter. I'd put $100 on rate 2-1. I would put $100 2-1 that both these guys get their extension this offseason. Like, it's an absolute no-brainer. It would make literally no logical sense at all for them not to be extended. And that's just, it is like, yeah, is what it is. Is what it is. But
to me, this was the prove it year. Like, to me, this was the year. It's like, okay, go prove to me that you can coach, with a team that's not what you want.
Maddie.
72, 75. I know there's some restructures and some cuts we can do to save a little bit more. So, yeah, I think that we're gonna be able to lure some big time free agents here. And
facts,
I don't know, man. I'm really excited for this. I'm really excited for this offseason.
Yeah. I mean, if we come out and we look like the same team we did this year, or like the same talent or whatever, like we don't fill anything on D line, offensive line, or cornerback, yeah, then hey, that's worth being mad about. But we do have the money. So this is going to be a really good offseason. What's going on, Valerie? Welcome in. And hey, by the way, before we keep moving on here, we mentioned this earlier, the good and bad news. The bad news, this is our last Thursday live stream for this offseason, unless there's like a random one we decide to do. The good news is we're going to use that time to work on more actual video content that we put a lot of work in. That being said, because this is our last Thursday show, we are giving away a Jalen Nailor rookie auto out of 99, Obsidian Orange. So get the hashtag Skols in the comments, like the video, and subscribe for your chance to win this at the end of the show.
Yeah, absolutely.
Anyways, let's keep on moving here. We were passionate about Kevin O'Connell and Kevin O'Connell and Kwesi. So moving on here, we probably don't have to. We talked about it a little bit already. I think everybody knows we're on the page of, Sam. I was always on this page. I stuck through it the whole time. I told everybody that it would be very hard for me to change my mind. And even if Sam Darnold played well in playoffs, which I wanted him to do so, unfortunately that wasn't the case. And I also said, and I was saying, like, we shouldn't even have this conversation until we see him play in playoffs. And obviously we all figured out why that is. And that was not for him to fail. I thought he was going to do good in playoffs. I really did. But it did suck to see that wasn't the case for him. But ultimately, it does seem like a lot of fans have kind of came down on that, and I do get it. I mean, a lot, and there is going to be teams that are going to go pay for a guy like Sam Darnold because there's teams that play a guy like Kirk Cousins over and over and over again, even though he hasn't won the big game and he looks good in regular season. And I think Viking fans are well aware now that that is not the option we want to go for a quarterback. We don't want a guy that gets bounced off in playoffs, or at least like just regresses in play in playoffs. And that's Sam Darnold's first time with those huge games on his shoulders. So I'm not even saying that he can't go to another team and help them win games in playoffs. You never know. But as a Viking fan, you know, where mentality has become a really big thing here because it was something that Kirk didn't have. And we had Kirk for 6 years or whatever.
Yeah. A couple of things. Mafia, I hope you guys still do some mock draft live. Absolutely on our we're still doing our Monday shows. So Monday, 6 p.m. Central Time. So we'll definitely be doing those on theirs. And George, how is it going tonight, man? Thank you so much for hopping in. We appreciate you. I'm glad JJ didn't place here that O-line could have potentially ruined. That's also a very good point. Very, very good point. He might have gotten hurt even worse than just the meniscus tear. Who really knows? But yeah, but honestly, so an interesting thing. I mean, people are saying that Ben Johnson is the favorite for the Raiders job, which I thought was like, why the hell would you go to the Raiders? Like, what do they really have unless you really want to prove you can take a bad franchise and really turn them around? But if he does go to the Raiders, Sam Darnold could be an interesting fit because I think he was a big piece in the turnaround of Jared Goff, and he's already getting a quarterback that has started his ascension into being better. So Ben Johnson with Sam Darnold could be really interesting. But obviously I'm on your side at this point. JJ McCarthy, you got to start the future at some point. And look, and it's not like, because this draft class, every single first round pick rookie quarterback started at some point during the season. And a lot of them played pretty well. Like Caleb Williams, for everything, that he had going on there, still had a good touchdown interception ratio and still showed some of what he's got. Jaden Daniels, years ahead of everybody else, honestly. Drake May with an absolute garbage roster, still had a pretty solid season for all things considered. Michael Penix showed some flash, and Bo Nix made the playoffs. So it's like you just got to roll with JJ McCarthy and see how it goes. But look, I understand the ending of the season is frustrating for Darnold. I really don't like, and I've seen it a couple times tonight, I don't love the Darnold slander. Like, look, I get it. Those last couple games, those last Bears O-line hurt Caleb. Oh, absolutely. Their O-line was even worse than ours was. But I really don't like the Sam Darnold slander. Like, yeah, it didn't end well, but you got to really sit back and appreciate a bust number 3 overall pick quarterback coming in here and doing what he did. And you could just tell, like, the lights were too bright for him in those last 2 games. Like, he just didn't, the throws were there. The plays were open. Yes, he got pressured a lot. I get that. But when he had time, the throws were still there, and he just wasn't that same confident guy that pulled the trigger. So I don't think that a team is going to be desperate and pay Sam Darnold too much money. I really don't. I still think he's going to make around $30 million a year. 30 to 35. I truly believe that. But you really do, and you really do got to give Sam Darnold the pat on the back for just what he was able to do, this season. So like I said, Sam Darnold for me has gained a lifelong fan, just because I really do appreciate just how he handled this season. And just, right. Again, and you hate to see what happened after the Green Bay game, talking to Tom Brady, the water shower in the locker room, which was probably the water bottle shower, which was a little bit too much for that.
It was great at the time. It was great.
I do hate seeing.
It was his Patrick Beverly moment. It's no big deal.
Right. So I do hate seeing how it all ended, but I really did want to take some of this time to just tell Sam Darnold how much I love him. I'm not that, but just really say how much I appreciated what Darnold.
Just let it out, Casey.
What Darnold's able to do this year, given all the circumstances and everything like that. All the people that didn't expect much of him, even from their own Vikings fan base. Our first video this year was the legend of Sam Darnold begins, and I would say the legend of Sam Darnold happened. It's a guy who showed out in the biggest moments. He didn't quite do it, but like you said, those were his first big time games like that in the NFL. And you got to hope that he takes it, learns from it, and his next team that he goes to, you got to hope that he's able to continue it. And you got to hope that, yes, he won up KOC, but you got to hope that Kevin O'Connell unlocks something in him that maybe now if he gets with another good offensive head coach, he'll be able to or a good offensive coordinator, he'll be able to kind of keep ascending. So I really do just want to give him a pat on the back, say what a great season. But yeah, if we do bring him back, I would not be shocked if it's relatively cheap. But if you're asking me what I just want to do right now is just go with JJ McCarthy, start the future. The future's now. Let's roll the kid out there and keep the hair. And keep the hair, please. Keep the hair.
Hashtag. No ditties.
And,
yes,
it's JJ McCarthy's team going forward.
Yeah, and just one last thing with Sam Darnold. Just like you said, like when we look back at it, I get it. Like it's 3 days after that last game, but when you look back at it, Sam Darnold came here and gave us an exciting season that we didn't expect, probably didn't deserve. Whatever you want to say, it's always going to kind of, especially like the beginning of JJ McCarthy and everything is exciting. When we come back to this, I do think it's going to be like, dang, that was like a fun season. Like we got to watch us win instead of having to deal with a shitty season before the plan took form. And I think that is a big plus on that.
Well, and like
a lot of it was because of Sam Darnold.
Yeah, and like I said, midseason, but the other side of it with the coaching is if Kevin O'Connell could do this with a quarterback who already had some negative influences in his NFL career, what can he do with the unpainted NFL canvas of JJ McCarthy? And that's what excites
not even
me.
Unpainted, like his coach, the one that helped paint him a little bit, that started the outlines, was Jim Harbaugh.
Unpainted NFL.
I'm saying in a good thing in the NFL, but he come from Jim Harbaugh, like
that's a pro style spread offense.
Who's good and has done good with quarterbacks and stuff like that. So like it's like that's even a bigger plus. Like he's handing the college version of JJ McCarthy from Jim Harbaugh to Kevin O'Connell, and Kevin O'Connell is literally gets to grow this kid. And man, honestly, the amount of improvements that we saw from JJ McCarthy's game was very apparent from, the first training camps or the first like rookie mini camp stuff to like what we saw in that one preseason game out of him. And that Kevin O'Connell came in and just dialed in his footwork. Like you knew what Kevin O'Connell had a plan, and we saw the result of it just in that single preseason game. And honestly, from everybody who's talked about the training camp practices and things like that, and even with Kwesi coming out today and Kevin O'Connell talking about him today and just kind of saying things that made it like JJ McCarthy was a lot further along than anybody on the outside thought and expected based off of their words. And Kevin O'Connell just doubled down today with the idea of like, when I said that this is your future of the franchise, like this is what I was talking like this, like we feel confident like this guy is going to be the next good quarterback. I mean, hopefully great quarterback for the Minnesota Vikings. Obviously time will tell, but I'm going to believe what they got to say. And if anybody knows what a good quarterback looks like, it's going to be Kevin O'Connell, because he's turned quarterbacks into good ones, not just watching.
Yeah, and Beltas, this is definitely one of the guys I've seen on the radar before, and I'm not a huge college football guy, but I have watched a couple of Ohio State games when they've been on, the playoff games and all that. How are you feeling about the backup Travion Henderson? What I saw from him, especially against Notre Dame, I really, really liked. He kind of feels like more of an Aaron Jones type back though, but I don't know. That's another interesting guy that I liked watching, at least in the limited time that I've got to watch him.
This guy?
Oh yeah, that guy. That's him.
I need him to play well.
Yeah.
Travion Henderson. He was like one of the most hyped running backs coming into college. And he never really lived up to that hype, but he does seem pretty good. Obviously, we're going to dive into all that stuff. And we can keep going on here. Obviously, we think JJ McCarthy is the future quarterback of the Minnesota Vikings as soon as this year. I wouldn't mind Daniel Jones coming in as backup or whatever, backup plan, whatever it is. But keep it on going here. We can go and talk a little bit about free agency and draft in general, which I guess start with like the good thing about the season. Another huge plus. It was obvious we feel very confident with pretty much every position on this team, other than interior offensive line, interior defensive line, specifically from a pass rush standpoint, because for the most part, we did great at stopping the run, which I was not expecting at all this season. And then obviously we just know we're not going to have like any cornerbacks, and we're going to have to definitely make some big moves there. I know obviously we talked about Smith on offensive, like, and we were talking about Kwesi and stuff like this is, you have the money, you need to go fill a guy on offensive line. You go get Smith. You need to go get a guy like Reed or Ward or whatever. You need to go and then re-sign Byron Murphy at this point, even though I was against it earlier, but Byron Murphy really stepped up in my opinion. It's kind of like you got to go after those players.
Yeah, and like so for me, my dream offseason is when you get into free agency. I would like free agency to be focused on the offensive line and corner, because I know corner is one of those positions where it's tough to transition from college to pros. And unless you're like a top 5 corner, a lot of times it does take a little bit of time to adjust to the NFL game. So like I would like to see us. DJ Reed is my number one option at cornerback. Seeing what he did when we played against him, kind of watching a little bit more of him. I like him a lot. And then go get Trey Smith and another offensive lineman in free agency. And then when it comes to the draft, get yourself a running back, get yourself a stud defensive tackle, and get yourself a cornerback to develop. Like that is my absolute dream. And bring back Byron Murphy Jr. as well. Bring back a couple other guys. We have interior in-house free agents. But I would like offensive line corner to focus on free agency, and then draft your defensive tackle and your running back. That's my dream scenario for this offseason.
And hoping that Brian Flores doesn't sign somewhere as a head coach.
Yeah.
Because everything works so much better.
Nothing.
What do we do here?
He
made his biggest kick. he made his one kick. Yeah. He made his one playoff kick. He's back, baby.
Will Riker's gonna be just back. Will Riker.
No, I'm not scared. I'm not worried about him. I mean, obviously, there's a couple games. What do you like? It's not like, what are we gonna do? Just has a bad game, and then we're just gonna cut him like he's Daniel Carlson.
Yeah,
exactly.
Look what happened.
And then he ends up being one of the best kickers in the NFL. I mean, you got to give some kids some times here. It wasn't that. It was definitely not that bad. He was way more impressive than not. So I'm not worried about that. I'd be more worried. Yeah. I'm not.
80% is terrible. I mean, but look, I don't think he was fully healthy all the way through. And again, it's like I know he shanked the one against, who was that against where he absolutely shanked it? It was the same game where he came up short. Was that the Packers? Or what game was that?
No.
Or was that Seattle? I don't know. But either way, he kicked a 57-yarder, and it was right down the chute. It just came up a couple yards short. So and then there was one he missed where it hit the upright. So it's not like he's like missing these things by 10 feet, it's not like he's missing them. It's not like he's shanking them off his foot. It's little things that he needs to adjust to. And who knows, maybe it is an injury thing. Who really knows? But I don't know.
Let's not talk about how he had the most consecutive makes in the NFL up until his leg injury. Let's just pretend that didn't happen.
Yeah.
I think it was like a rookie record for the amount of consecutive kicks he's made in a row. But that's not good, even though it was he dropped off after an injury. So I don't know. I believe in Will Riker.
Lions game. That's the one. Yep. It was the Lions game where he came up short.
I'm not worried. I mean, I think he's going to be fine. I think it's definitely a situation where you're going in with Will Riker, and if he just sucks in the beginning there, then you can talk.
Yeah. Honestly,
I'm not.
Let Bynum walk. I'm kind of in. Honestly, I know celebrations are fun, and he did have some. He does get some turnovers and all that type of stuff. But yeah, someone's going to pay him a lot of money, I feel like, and I just don't feel like safety is one of those positions that we should be going heavy into.
Yeah.
So
especially
if you ask me, is it Byron Murphy Jr., is it Cam Bynum? I know two different positions. I'm picking Byron Murphy Jr. all day long.
Yeah. And then you have obviously Theo Jackson, which we didn't see tons of him. We saw a lot better play later than earlier when he was out there. It wasn't great, but Kevin O'Connell to this day said he had the best training camp out of any player on the team, not just like backups and stuff. So I have a feeling we're going to kind of see the Blake Brandel type of situation with him, where they feel good about him going in as one of the starters. And then you still have Josh Metellus, who maybe you'll just see him play just a more regular strong safety role than having 20 snaps at defensive tackle or whatever it is. And then I wouldn't be surprised if we do try to go get some other safeties. I would not be surprised if we do get like another like steal safety in free agency
Yeah.
like we did with Cashman and Grenard and
Yep.
and the boy Van Ginkel, who
Yeah.
is still
All-
to this day, man, what a freaking
Yeah.
steal.
Yeah, but all you have to do is get through 2 or 3 more years, and then you draft Koi Parrish out of Minnesota in the first round, and your safety issues are solved just like Harrison Smith for the next 15 years. So just get through safety till old Koi is ready to come into the draft, and then we'll be good to go.
But yeah, dude. So I mean, as far as like, I guess like just breaking it down, like, I'm with you. There's not a ton of defensive interior options out there in free agency, anyways. And like with cornerbacks, like, do we really want to go and grab a first round rookie and then like, it takes them 3 years to get to be able to be what we want them to be? I think we're better. And there's a lot of corners, and then there's some good options at interior offensive line in free agency. So I do think you try to fill those holes as much as possible in free agency. And then with that first round pick, man, I do think you gotta hope a defensive interior guy lands in your lap there, a guy that you really like.
Class.
Yeah, and then running back as well. Like, I'm totally game with re-signing Aaron Jones. I know my boy Zoe brought up Najee Harris. I'm not a Najee Harris guy, though. I do like his running style. I think he would complement, especially like Aaron. I think Aaron Jones, Najee Harris would be a good combo. But I kind of would rather. I'm cool with rolling with Aaron Jones with a better interior offensive line, and then you go draft one of these stud running backs in this deep running back. If there's a draft where you should be going after running backs, it's this one. Just like last year was quarterbacks.
And running backs and D tackles is a deep draft for both of them, and that's perfect because exactly what we're looking for.
That's what we're looking for. So yeah.
We're not even talking about Cam Scatteraboo yet. Like, we haven't even mentioned Scatterboo's name.
Yeah, like, Scatterboo. I mean, yeah, dude.
Caleb
There's
Johnson.
tons of
names out there.
Caleb Johnson. Yeah, Hampton. I think someone brought him up. And then obviously, I think we all just kind of have agreed that we probably don't have a shot at Genty because
no. Someone's going to take him like they did with Bijan and Jahmyr Gibbs. Someone's going to take them high up on.
People are feeling so. The thoughts on him are actually that if the Cowboys don't pick him, there's not another team. Hey, Sarah. What happened? What up, Sarah?
On. I beat it to the punch.
If nobody picks him, there's not a running back needy team until the Broncos at like pick 20 or 21 or whatever. Obviously, I would not be surprised for someone to trade up, but it'll be an interesting one to see what the Cowboys decide to do there. But I'd be it feels like I would probably put money on it a little bit that Genty ends up being a Cowboy for whatever reason. It just feels like it's going to happen, even though it's still regular season. We haven't even gotten into offseason stuff yet.
Genty and Dion are both going to be Cowboys before it's all said and done.
That's the one thing is like, we could use a bowling ball, whatever, but then it's always has to be that it's committee thing, right? So with Aaron Jones, that would be just fine. But you kind of would like a guy that, like, I would like a feature. Like, I like having a second guy, but you kind of would like to have a guy that you don't have to worry about that. Yeah, but Scatteraboo. I haven't looked at him yet. Actually, I actually did go watch. Did go watch him a little bit, and he is pretty sick. Honestly, but he has that recent like super hype lately because of that one game. Sure. So it's like that's the emotion thing you got to be careful with, especially when you're looking at draft picks. Just like, he's really high up here right now, so I'm like, let's calm it down a little bit and then look at Scatteraboo.
Go watch his game against Texas in the playoff. Heart and hustle. Dude was throwing up on the sidelines had to just get back out there. Not comfortable taking a running back when we need defensive tackle. I agree. I'd rather go DT in the first round as well if I'm the man behind the show picking it. But
this is going to be one of those things where we just hope a ton of defensive interior guys make their way into the first round based on like throughout the like last year there was like 2 quarterbacks that were supposed to be first rounders, and then on a year that we needed one, it was good to see like 6 of them or whatever having to go up, because then there's going to be just a lot of options there.
But that's the thing. He's a left tackle, I guess, pending. I don't know, unless you could kick him into guard, or unless you decide to just move on from Brian O'Neill and put Ezeri at right tackle, maybe. But he's definitely gonna be a first round pick. But I just don't think we would go there with the tackles that we have right now. But before we get into the giveaway, can I just say how funny it is and how unserious of a franchise the Bears would be if they decide to bring in Mike McCarthy as their head coach, who sounds like he's the favorite right now. Like, I just don't, I don't get it. Please do it. I don't understand it. Like, he's good.
He's an
right?
offensive coordinator,
coach,
offensive-minded coordinator, right?
It's just so funny. It's just so funny if he ends up being just
the Bears.
You have a young quarterback. Get a young offensive mind to match.
I would, if I was, man, I would be like, I don't even know. I mean, I wouldn't do anything, but I feel like there should be a lot of GMs doing a lot of things that they generally wouldn't do to go get Ben Johnson. You know,
and play guard.
Like there's I think, like, I don't know, Ryan Poles isn't doing enough to go make sure he gets Ben Johnson. Yeah, you might have to go figure that out.
See, but the only thing, like, I get Ursa can play guard, and I get that, but he's going to be a first-round pick. You're not going to spend your first-round pick on a tackle you're going to transition to guard. When you have other needs, and hopefully at that point, guard is accounted for in free agency, but I don't know.
Yeah, we're getting. I'm going in. I'm feeling confident that we're gonna go grab a guard in free agency. I'm feeling confident by the time we get into the draft, nobody's going to be saying we should get an offensive lineman in the first round.
Yeah,
hopefully, and that means we might have to go grab a center somewhere, because I don't think nobody's really trying to draft centers in the first round or whatever. That's the one thing I'm worried about. There is a center out here, but I think there's going to be a lot of competition for that center. But Trey Smith, I mean, that's going to be everybody. But
that is definitely the name. That is,
once we get into
definitely the name at the top of the list.
I'm going to be looking at, like, what teams need guards. Like, every team that needs a guard, who has more money than us, and someone better for me.
But again,
we have the most money for the team that needs guards the most. That's what I want to know.
Yeah, like we have money, we have the culture, we have the facilities, we got
Jurgens. We don't need a guard.
Yeah, we have everything that a free agent would want. Plus, you're going to be guarding for hopefully what is one of the better rookie quarterbacks that we've seen in a while. So, Trey Smith and Tevin Jenkins, that'd be great. I know some YouTube channels that I watch are huge on, like, those two being the two guys that we go after this offseason, which would be,
dude, it's going to be a fun one. It's going to be a fun one. Yeah, the Rams game sucked, but this is when shit gets real. I'm telling you all. Like, these next 4 years is what we've all actually been waiting for. This last year was just a surprise. This is what we've been waiting for, and I can't fucking wait.
Jair Alexander going to be a Viking next season. I wouldn't hate it. Could him and Justin Jefferson coexist on the same team? I don't know.
But I mean, we're pretty good at taking Packer defensive players, so I mean, I think they'd be fine if they're on the same team. You know, I think they could come together. Jair Alexander would have a lot of tough practices, I'm sure, but especially against Jordan Addison. But hey.
From De Niro Jones. What up, Purple
Let's
Gang?
go, De Niro. I appreciate you.
Hell yeah, man.
Dude, I can't wait. And it sounds like everything's moving along as planned.
He's back on the field. He's back on the field finally, getting some workouts
I didn't know that.
Oh, yeah, they both mentioned that during their press conference. He's back on the field, just at least getting working.
Okay.
Kwesi said he's doing all the weird hip motions that Dak Prescott does before games and stuff. So he's getting back into all that. So he's finally able to start.
Okay. And someone needs to the first thing he needs to do, though, is like, this is the kind of thing where I wish steroids were like okay in the NFL, because this dude needs to put on some LBs right away this offseason going into it, because he is skinny as hell right now.
Yeah.
So I do think
get him in the way. He hasn't been able to do much really, so he'll get there.
Well, he's lucky. He's the type of guy, when he doesn't move and doesn't do anything, he just loses weight instead of gains.
Right.
He's got that going for him.
I'm sure he's still been on like a diet plan and all that, but
I'm sure he was. He'll be good. He'll be good.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Anything else? I guess that's kind of the end of our list here. Do you want to get to that giveaway, or you got?
Yeah. Let's give this away again, everybody. Our last Thursday show. For the time being, maybe we'll have some pop-ups or whatever. Just pro steroids. Yeah. Hey, I don't got a problem with steroids. What's wrong with that? Some people say that a little bit of steroids at the right age are good for you. So,
DJ Reed is my absolute dream in this free agency. How old is Charvarius Ward? I think he's around the same age. I think I looked it up. I think he's like 28. Valerie with the $5. I would love to have Trey Smith. Absolutely. We agree. Guard, DJ Reed, Trey Smith, free agency would be an absolute success if you pull that off for me. Don't even care.
Tell me this. If steroids, if you could have steroids and they came up to us and be like, do you want all your football players to take steroids? And it was okay. Like, I'm not saying no, I'm going to, of course. Why wouldn't you? Look how much better baseball was with steroids. You know what I'm saying? All right, everybody. We're giving away the Jalen Nailor rookie auto out of 99. Our last Thursday show for the time being, but we are going to be making some really strong content and things like that. So get the hashtag Skols in the comments, like the videos, and subscribe. It's the Minnesota Roids. Hey, roids are bad, but there's like some, go look, there's some studies out there that are like pro taking a little bit of steroids.
Reed's only 28. Yeah, he just turned 28 in November. So we still got a couple years to 30. Sign him to a 3-year deal. I'd like that.
Sign who to a 3-year deal?
DJ Reed.
Oh, DJ Reed. Yeah.
He's 28.
We just need everybody to hit that rookie window. That's the thing.
And everybody hit that like button if you haven't already. We have 29 people in here from YouTube and only 29 likes. It's too low. Too low.
And we have 23 entries and only 20 likes. The rule is you got to like the video to win this card. And you got to be subscribed. So get those. Yeah, there's some likes. Subscribe, like the video.
All you have to do is bully people into liking.
Yep, that's it. Just ask harshly. And if you don't, then fuck you. No, I'm just kidding.
Whoa.
Chill, Casey. Talking about steroids.
Yeah.
And now just swearing at everybody out here. Again, everybody. Jalen Nailor, auto, rookie, wide receiver 3 that stepped up towards the end of the year. That's why it's time to give away this card. Get the hashtag Skols in the comments, like the video, and subscribe.
Absolutely. Nudie to come out of it. And we forget about that too. Like, we're gonna have Mekhi Blackman back next year. Hopefully he takes that step. I know coming off a knee injury is bad,
Nudie. But that's one thing is I think it's just I don't know if it's a Kevin O'Connell thing or if it's a Brian Flores thing, but there's an obvious taking it slow with your rookie defender.
But next year you might have no choice. Because you're not going to have I don't think you're going to have Shaq Griffin or Gilly here next year. Like, you're not going to have Gilly here next year. You're not going to have a choice. I think he's going to have to play out of necessity. By the way, ever since we bullied the people into liking, we have now shot up to 28 likes. So great job, everybody. Thank you so much.
Let me bring up the giveaway screen here. Obviously, if anybody's been here before or not, here, let me take down this. There we go. If anyone's been here or not, we pick 5 names, and out of the 5 names, we will those guys will make it into, guys or girls, will make it into the duck race. Whoever wins the duck race wins this card. All that good stuff. But let's get it rolling here. 23 entries. 3, 2, 1. Boom. Got to be here to make it to the next round.
First off, we have
Kinetic.
Kinetic, all right. You still here, man? You commented one time a bit ago.
You got to be here. Kinetic doesn't leave. That'd be crazy.
But I will keep an eye out if you want to keep spinning. I'll keep the eye on the chat.
All right. I'm going to keep going. Boom.
Kinetic is here. We're good there.
Let's go. Jalen Nailor, rookie auto to 99, and we got our boy Skol Mafia. It has been a minute for Skol Mafia, I think.
Where else he have to go? What other channel? Anybody else?
I don't know where else he has to go.
He's got to be here.
What up, George? I don't know if I saw you in here.
Mafia is here. Let's go.
I
shouted out George earlier, man. He's not listening to me or what?
We talk about a lot of stuff.
Sometimes you just can't. I get it.
All right. Boom. Next one. Let's get it. And it is. Boom. Boom. Bob Sweet. That is actually crazy. This is like the 6th Bob Swede in a row he makes it to the duck race. Wow.
And he just
He is the
commented
new.
within a minute. He's here.
He's the new Sarah. He is the new Sarah who's in here. Who is in here? So you never know. Sarah could get the next one here. Boom. That is actually crazy. That is actually crazy.
I'm on a roll. Yes, you
I'm
are.
on a roll.
Yes, you
Let's
are.
see. The next one is
Nick.
Nick.
And he is here. He just commented again, probably in the last 20 seconds. So just toss him in.
All right. Our final one. 3, 2, 1. Last one for the duck race. And it is Zoe. It has been a while for Zoe, I believe.
He came back after heading out for a bit. So
yeah. So you never know.
Zoe. We'll give him a little bit. We'll give him
a second here.
It has been a minute, but
Ellie sliding in same amount of wins as the Vikings paid. Hey, this might be it, Nick. Nick, have you won one though, right? Or someone gave you one or something?
I don't know if he has. Remember,
we might not be done.
Yeah,
I think I'm gonna go
be here.
I'm gonna roll. Zoe just comes in before we start the duck race. I'll just add him into it. But we're gonna Oh dang, Nick. We're gonna roll again here. This is a good one to win. And let's see what we got. Let's see what we've got. And it is boom. Scoliosis. That's like 3 in a row for him as well.
He was in here. So
he's in here pretty
well. Still be here. Unless he left after he thought it was over. But
I know he hasn't won, but he has been in the last.
He has been here. Yeah, he has been in a lot of them. All right, he's in. Let's roll.
All right. We're rocking it. Zoe, if you're there, let us know. Congratulations, everyone. Make it into the duck race. For everyone who made it into the duck race. Boom. Here we go. We got the names in here. Kinetic Mafia Swede, Nick Riley, and Scoliosis. Set. What do we want to do here? How many do
9.
We want on this one?
9 for a quarterback of the future.
Hey, I like that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Kinetic said that. 6, 7, 8, and 9. All right. Nick R, I hope you're okay with being sex slave duck. That could be the lucky one. That could be the lucky one. 9 isn't it?
We gotta roll with it. I like it a lot. All right, let's go.
Yeah, we gotta roll this one. All right, let's get it. 3, 2, 1. Boom. You got it, PVR. We appreciate you hopping in here, brother.
Thanks, man.
Oh, I mean, at this point, I'll be Sam Darnold. All right, we got 30 seconds left. We got Swede. Nick Riley's taking a lead here.
Never a good thing to hit.
It's not always not, though. It's not always not a good thing, but sometimes it isn't. And Nick Riley, he's going for it all. But now everybody's coming back. This can be anybody's duck race here.
Scoliosis looks
like
maybe.
Sarah, then you're still
Kinetic.
That's funny. Swede wants it.
It's Swede.
Swede's getting it.
Swede, unless someone has a late minute push. Nah, it's Swede.
Bob Swede on fire. Bob Swede with another victory. Obviously, you got all this stuff. I do want to say this was funny by Sarah. LOL. I mean, at this point, I might as well be Sam Darnold. Then you're still hanging on to the ball. I like it.
Oh, Sammy.
I like it.
Sammy.
Congrats, Bob. You are the luckiest person in our chat for the past month.
We definitely know where to find you. But I guess before we sign off here, thank you guys for a fun season. I mean, 2 nights a week watching us 2 yahoos come on here and talk our best, try to break down as much Vikings football as we can. Again, 14-win season, super fun. Obviously didn't end the way any of us wanted. We wish we could still be here talking about going to Philadelphia and playing a hard-fought game there. But it is all over. But again, we cannot do any of this without you guys tuning in. And honestly, our live stream numbers this year spiked. It was Jamie's idea to kind of start doing 2 streams a week for our post-game and pre-game stuff. And it ended up working out really well. But again, none of it happens if you guys don't hop in here watching us. So we really do appreciate you guys for all the support this season. Again, we'll still be live every Monday for a while here, 6 p.m. Central Time. But Thursday, as Jamie said, we're going to start focusing on some other contracts.
It's going to be worth it.
So
it's going to be worth it. That content, dude, the content is going to be fucking good. I'm telling y'all. So
hey, Scolios, man, I just want to say I'm a truck driver, but I work in the freight broker industry. So you probably don't like me because truckers don't like freight brokers, but I appreciate the content on the road. Absolutely, man. Absolutely. Thank you so much for spending your free time or time out on the road watching. Again, just a couple guys who love Vikings football sitting here talking about it.
Hey,
so,
Bob, maybe the next show we'll start the mocks, even though I know
we're going to do it tonight, but we kind of got into a little bit more with the head coach and GM extensions.
Yeah, we'll be on Bleacher Report still every single Wednesday at what's the time again?
I think it's 5. I don't remember, 5 or 6.
5:30. I don't know. Bleacher Report every single Wednesday. That's going to be staying the same, and then our Monday show. So those will be our live streams, which would be cool to see some people hop into those Bleacher Reports as well.
Absolutely.
But otherwise, content, shorts. We're gonna get it rolling here in man, it's gonna get exciting here. Yeah. Obviously, we still have some football left, but it just doesn't feel that way.
For us, it's all right. Anyway. But again, appreciate you guys. Fun season. It's over now. We look on towards the future, and the future is goddamn bright here in Minnesota Vikings land. Thank you guys so much for watching. We'll see you on Monday. Have a great rest of your week and weekend.